Kazuma is a poor unwanted child who grows up with no fire magic, which makes his family ashamed of him. His father beats him for being weak, and even his mother throws him out after he loses to a girl in a fight. Deeply hurt, Kazuma secretly makes a deal with the Wind Spirit King and gives up everything to gain powerful energy. He then vows to return one day to take revenge, especially on his father. Years later, the same girl who defeated Kazuma as a child is now a strong fire magic user named Ayano. She uses her sword in Raiha, powered by flames, to protect her friends from a demon spider hiding in a forest shrine. The spider tries to grab her with its sticky web, but she burns it with a huge fireball using the help of fire spirits. After winning the fight, her friends invite her to sing karaoke. Suddenly, a strange wind blows through the air, and Ayano realizes her cousin Kazuma has returned. At the same time, Kazuma takes a job at a big house. A maid leads him inside where he meets Shinji, a relative from a branch family of the Kanagi clan. Shinji makes fun of Kazuma for being an exorcist, but Kazuma ignores him. Their client doesn't care about Kazuma's past, he just wants the job done. However, he warns Kazuma not to damage anything in the house since everything is expensive. Just before Shinji leaves, Kazuma insults him, and they nearly fight. A spirit suddenly appears, and Shinji tries to burn it with fire magic, but it doesn't work. The spirit attacks and burns the mansion. As everything catches fire, the client begs Kazuma to save him. He even offers to do something weird, but Kazuma only agrees to help for a high price. Using wind spirits, Kazuma blows away the flames and cuts the spirit into small pieces. Afterward, he kicks Shinji, and the client warns him not to disrespect the dead. But Kazuma is alive, and being part of the Kanagi family means fire can't kill him so easily. That night, Ayano hurries home after hanging out with her friends and meets Ren, Kazuma's younger brother. He tells her that his brother has returned to Japan. Ayano doesn't remember him at first, but Ren reminds her that she beat him once in a fight to earn the sword in Raiha. She laughs, calling Kazuma weak, and Ren begins to cry. Meanwhile, inside the Kanagi household, their leader Yugo talks to Kazuma's father Gunma about Kazuma. Shinji had earlier told them Kazuma returned. Ayano and Ren walk in, and she learns that Kazuma is her second cousin who changed his name. Ayano can't understand how someone from the main fire magic family is now using wind magic. Gunma believes Kazuma is no longer his son because there's no place for a wind user in the Kanagi family. Yugo, on the other hand, feels Kazuma's success shows that leaving the family was a good decision, though Ren is still sad about losing his brother. Later that night, an unknown wind magic user kills 2 Kanagi members and then slices Shinji in half. Kazuma wakes up sensing danger. The next morning, the leader of the wind user Fuga clan tells Yugo that the wounds were made with wind blades, but not by any member of their clan. Gunma is furious and ashamed that someone from his powerful fire family was killed by wind magic. Though he apologizes to the Fuga clan, they remain silent out of respect. Shinji's brother blames Kazuma for the murder, and Ayano wants her father to punish him. But Yugo says there's no proof. Later that day, Kazuma notices someone tailing him. When the Fuga clan reports his location to the Kanagi leaders, Yugo wants to talk with him. But Gunma is ready to use force if needed. They send 2 men, Shingo and Takiya, to meet Kazuma, but Ayano secretly follows them. When they reach Kazuma, Ayano gets trapped in a wind prison. The boys run ahead and accuse Kazuma of killing their friends. Kazuma says he is no longer a Kanagi and wants Gunma to speak to him. He then reveals the person following him, a Fuga clan member. Left with no choice, the boys prepare to fight, but Kazuma uses a wind blast to knock them down. Just then, the real killer appears and destroys a building with a wind slash, killing 2 more Kanagi members underneath. Before Kazuma can go after the killer, Ayano arrives and believes he is the one behind the deaths. She attacks him within Raiha. Kazuma dodges and tries to explain that it's a mistake, but she doesn't believe him. He knocks her sword away, but she quickly calls it back. He cuts her next attack in half and again tries to convince her. When she still refuses to listen, Kazuma flies into the sky, telling her someone else is the real killer. Ayano screams at him, demanding he come back. The next day, Ayano goes to a restaurant with her friends and tells them she has been grounded by Yugo for fighting a guy. Her friends first think she is talking about a boyfriend, but after seeing her strange behavior, they realize it's not that simple. Meanwhile, Yugo overhears someone claiming that Kazuma has killed 2 more clan members. Gunma doesn't believe it because if Kazuma were the killer, he would not have shown his face to Ayano. Still, Yugo understands why people are suspicious. Kazuma's return seems like revenge, and his actions have raised doubts. Yugo asks Gunma why he sent Kazuma away in the first place, and Gunma replies that Kazuma, as a wind magic user, no longer belonged in a clan that uses fire magic. Gunma hoped that sending him away would help him find his own path. However, he now wishes to bring him back personally. Kazuma, staying at a peaceful resort, receives a call from his father, saying he wants to meet him that evening. As Kazuma watches the sunset, he remembers how his father once insulted him for losing to Ayano when she was just 12. Gunma called him useless and unfit to be the heir of the Kanagi family. He even cruelly ordered Kazuma to buy milk and never return. Kazuma begged to stay, but his father abandoned him, leaving him all alone. Since then, Kazuma has always wanted to prove that he is stronger than the father who once controlled every part of his life. At the same time, Hei reports to Yugo that the killer of Shingo and Takiya is still unknown. The entire Fuga clan is working to solve the case, but they need more time. Later that night, Gunma finally arrives at the resort and demands that Kazuma turn himself in. Kazuma ignores him and instead asks if this is all his father has to say after 4 years. Kazuma wants to fight him and prove that he is not weak anymore. Gunma, still looking down on him, believes that someone who studied wind magic for only 4 years cannot defeat him. Kazuma attacks with wind blades, but they do no damage. He tries different angles, but nothing works. Gunma then attacks with powerful fire bursts and surrounds Kazuma in flames. Kazuma protects himself with a wind barrier. Gunma decides to use the power of fire spirits to launch his strongest attack. However, Kazuma uses the wind to control oxygen and cause an explosion, breaking Gunma's move. Gunma, now serious, covers himself in blue hellfire called Azure God's Flame, which he believes Kazuma cannot stop. But Kazuma summons the spirits of the wind and moves faster. Since wind spirits gather quicker than fire spirits, Kazuma attacks first and defeats Gunma. Seeing his father fall to the ground, Kazuma laughs and feels like he has finally overcome the shadow of his past. Gunma is taken to a hospital. As Kazuma heads back to his hotel, he feels the presence of a fire magic user. It turns out to be his younger brother Ren, who has grown a lot. Ren says that Hei told him where to find Kazuma and hopes to convince him to return home. Kazuma doesn't respond to that and just invites Ren into the hotel, mentioning that he beat up their father and sent him to the hospital. At the same time, Ayano steps out of the shower and reads a message from Ren telling her Kazuma's location. Inside the hotel, Ren asks if Kazuma is a contractor who made a deal with the Wind Spirit King, just like the Kanagi clan did with the Fire Spirit King long ago. He has seen rumors online about a powerful Japanese contractor and wonders if it's Kazuma. Kazuma avoids the question. Ren then asks if Kazuma really killed the Kanagi members. Kazuma denies it but says that even if people hate him, only Yugo might understand his situation. Kazuma has no plans to help the Kanagi clan, even though he knows it's mostly his own pride getting in the way. Still, he believes they cannot defeat the real killer. Ren feels hurt because he still thinks of Kazuma as part of the family, but Kazuma reminds him how the family abandoned him long ago. Ren begins to cry, feeling like he has failed to bring Kazuma back. Kazuma throws him a towel to wipe his tears and tells him to go to bed. As Ayano approaches the hotel, Kazuma smiles seeing his little brother asleep. But suddenly, he senses something dangerous. He grabs Ren and jumps out of the building just as the top half of the hotel comes crashing down. Ren asks if this was the work of the same wind user Kazuma had mentioned earlier. Kazuma senses someone approaching and orders Ren to step back. A person named Ryuya attacks them, and Kazuma tries to stop him with wind blades, but they don't work. During the chaos, Ren is kidnapped. Ryuya leaves right after that and Kazuma flies into the sky to follow them and try to rescue his brother. Meanwhile, Ayano survives the hotel collapse by melting the debris around her and prepares to join the fight. After the hotel is destroyed, Officer Kurika and Izumi arrive at the scene. Since magic is involved, they are called to investigate. They quickly understand that powerful wind magic is responsible. Kurika tells Izumi that a god-level wind user has recently appeared in Japan. At the same time, Kazuma visits Yugo's mansion. While approaching the estate, he remembers the day his mother gave him her debit card and walked away without saying goodbye. As he enters the mansion, the guards attack him, thinking he is there to harm their leader. Kazuma easily blocks their flames with his wind magic and knocks them down. When one guard tries to get up, Yugo stops him and warmly greets Kazuma. He even congratulates him for beating Gunma in a fight and laughs when Kazuma says he really defeated his father. After Kazuma tells Yugo that Ren has been kidnapped by a wind magic user, Yugo invites him inside, saying he has useful information. As they walk together, Kazuma feels strange seeing the place he once called home. At the same time, Ayano sees the beaten guards and learns Kazuma is talking to her father. Inside, Kazuma tells Yugo that the kidnapper is Ryuya, Hei's son. Just then, Ayano enters with her sword in Raiha burning and gets ready to fight Kazuma. But Yugo stops her and scolds her for attacking a guest. She still blames Kazuma for the deaths of their clan members, but when Kazuma says he isn't the killer, Yugo backs him up. He explains that the true enemy is the Fuga clan, who have all vanished from their estate, proving they are planning something big. Ayano still doesn't trust Kazuma and asks why he didn't kill her when he had the chance. She believes it's because she is too strong. But Kazuma had already defeated Gunma, who was the strongest in the clan, so beating Ayano would have been easy for him. Yugo explains that the Fuga clan used Kazuma as a distraction and took Ren while everyone was focused on him. Before serving the Kanagi family, the Fuga clan was a dangerous group with strong powers. Long ago, they were defeated when the Kanagi clan sealed their source of power. That power belonged to a mighty demon of wind. The Fuga clan now plans to revive this demon by sacrificing Ren. Hayu, the leader of the Fuga clan, places Ren on a stone altar near the demon's shrine. Before doing that, they filled Ryuya with dark energy from the demon to give him a part of its power. When the full seal is broken, they will gain the demon's complete strength. 300 years ago, the Kanagi clan sealed the demon named Ryuya inside a special fire crystal. Anyone who touches this seal is burned alive, except members of the Kanagi main family, who created the seal. Now, the demon's broken soul is inside Ryuya, and it is starting to control Ren's body to fully break the seal. Once the seal is destroyed, the demon will take over completely by eating Ren's soul until nothing remains. After hearing all this, Ayano swears to defeat the Fuga clan. But Kazuma doesn't fully blame them. He understands their anger, as the Kanagi clan has used them as tools for hundreds of years. He compares their suffering to his own, having been rejected by his family. Ayano disagrees, but Yugo admits that Kazuma is right. He had tried to fix the clan's mistakes after becoming leader, but it was already too late to stop Ren's kidnapping. Ayano insists on going to the seal alone, even though she lacks the strength. Kazuma stops her and offers to help her defeat Ryuya, since wind magic doesn't work against him. Ayano complains, but Kazuma reminds her that he isn't part of the family anymore and won't help for free. Yugo agrees to pay him without hesitation. Meanwhile, the entire Fuga clan gathers at the location of the seal. Hayu feels excited, ready to finally take revenge on the Kanagi clan. At the same time, Kazuma and Ayano travel toward the shrine in a car. As she complains about his terrible driving, she remembers asking her father why Kazuma needed payment. Yugo explained that Kazuma wanted it to feel like a job, not an act of kindness toward his family. While they drive, Kazuma suddenly senses an attack. He kicks open Ayano's door and jumps out just before the car explodes. It was Ryuya's doing. Kazuma becomes furious that his brother was taken. When Ayano says she didn't sense the enemy, Kazuma tells her that fire users can't detect high-level wind users. Ayano uses her flame sword in Raiha and charges at Ryuya with a powerful fire attack, but he easily blocks it and punches her away. She tries to strike again, but he stops her bare-handed. Realizing she is no match for him, she asks Kazuma for help, but he never planned to assist her. Instead, Kazuma goes to save Ren, who is being controlled by the enemy. Using Ren's body, the enemy breaks the seal that keeps the demon Ryuya locked away. Ryuya tries to consume Ren's body to return to the world, but Kazuma arrives in time to stop him. He also saves Ren and heals him using his wind magic. Ren, confused and hurt, asks Kazuma why he interfered since they were both treated badly by the Kanagi clan. Kazuma says he came only for money and would help anyone who paid over 100 million yen. This makes Ren sad, thinking Kazuma only saved him for profit. The Fuga clan attacks Kazuma together, and he defends himself with a wind shield. Ryuya returns and Kazuma realizes Ayano has been defeated. Ryuya, who now controls part of Ryuya, breaks free from Kazuma's wind prison and uses Ryuya's body to come back into the world. Ryuya surprises everyone by attacking the Fuga clan instead of the Kanagi. Kazuma understands that Ryuya has gone mad after being locked away for so long and now wants to destroy everything, including the Kanagi clan. Kazuma does not care about saving the clan but still goes to rescue Ayano. She is badly hurt and full of evil energy. The only way to save her is with a rare elixir that Kazuma owns. He hesitates, thinking he may not get another chance to obtain it, and considers letting her die so Ren can take her place. However, when Ren becomes angry and demands the elixir to save Ayano, Kazuma gives it to her himself. While doing so, he takes the chance to kiss her, pretending it is part of the healing process. Ayano becomes furious and calls him a jerk. But when Ren hugs Kazuma and tells Ayano that he used a very rare elixir to save her life, she thanks him. Kazuma jokes that she is not worth the elixir and demands another 100 million yen. He mocks her for being Ryuya's punching bag. Angry, Ayano tries to summon her sword, but Kazuma stops her. Kazuma then grabs both Ayano and Ren and flies toward Ryuya. They see that the demon's aura has awakened many ghostly spirits from the ground. Ayano worries if they can defeat such a powerful demon but decides to fight anyway. Kazuma tells her to stay alive and never give up. Rin jumps down to handle the spirits using his own flames while Kazuma and Ayano continue forward. Kazuma uses his wind slash to stop Ryuya from flying, and Ayano charges with another attack. Kazuma supports her with wind magic, but her strike fails. He encourages her to stay focused. Ryuya almost injures Ayano badly, but Kazuma creates a wind tunnel to give her a path to the demon. She slashes at Ryuya again while Kazuma gathers wind energy to try another powerful attack. Ren, who is still fighting the evil spirits, senses a god-level wind burst forming. Ayano tries one more time to strike Ryuya from behind, but he blocks her. Kazuma, now out of options, decides to use the ultimate power of the wind god and asks Ayano to distract Ryuya. Ayano can barely stand but keeps fighting. She loses her sword and almost gives up, but remembers Kazuma's words about never quitting. She throws a crimson flame to burn Ryuya and cuts off his arm with a burst of strength. The demon screams in pain but still survives. Kazuma finally finishes preparing the divine power. With calm and focus, he unleashes heavenly winds and massive tornadoes from all directions to trap and crush Ryuya. Then he tells Ayano to end the fight. Ayano combines her flames with Enraiha and pierces through Ryuya's neck, finally killing Ryuya. With the demon destroyed, the evil spirits around Rin vanish. Kazuma collapses from exhaustion. Ayano is angry because she realizes Kazuma could have used his power earlier but chose not to. He explains that she needed to overcome her fear and grow stronger. He tells her to remember that lesson. Ayano blushes, but Kazuma jokingly tells her to get off his body before something embarrassing happens. Later, Kurika arrives and realizes that Kazuma is the one who used the wind magic. At the same time, Kazuma visits his father and tells him to take care before leaving again. A few days later, the Kanagi clan holds a meeting at Yugo's house. Ayano feels uneasy because Kazuma hasn't arrived yet, but he soon shows up and apologizes for being late. Yugo doesn't mind since he was the one who invited him. Rin quickly becomes affectionate toward Kazuma, trying to feed him, but Kazuma harshly tells him to stop. Ayano comforts Rin during the moment. Miseo bows to Kazuma and says she will serve him during his stay. Kazuma, acting shamelessly, jokingly asks her to serve him in bed, which makes things tense. Ayano stops the situation from getting worse. Though she dislikes Kazuma, she remembers that he helped the clan and got revenge for her brother. Still, part of the blame for her brother's death is on Kazuma too, as he had weakened him before the final fight, though Takeya likely wouldn't have survived anyway. Kazuma senses that Miseo is hiding something and asks her to use it. She tries to stab him with a hidden knife, but his wind shield protects him. Yugo gets angry and asks Kazuma to punish Miseo, even saying he'll do it himself if Kazuma doesn't. Miseo's father agrees, but Kazuma says there's no need since he wasn't hurt. Still, Yugo confines Miseo to her home. She asks Kazuma why Takeya had to die, and Kazuma replies that it was because he was weak. Ayano gets upset and asks if he forgot what weakness feels like, but he ignores her and leaves. Later, Ayano walks with her friends, feeling annoyed and accidentally kicks a random guy. Her friends realize she is upset because of Kazuma, though she denies it. Meanwhile, Kazuma is seen coming out of a love hotel with Kurika. When Ayano sees this, she is shocked and jealous. Kurika leans close to Kazuma to tease Ayano. Ayano glares at them angrily while her friends guess that she might be in love with Kazuma, even if she refuses to admit it. Ayano walks off, clearly disturbed. Ayano starts looking around the city for Kazuma and wonders why he is with a woman like Kurika. When she guesses what might have happened inside the hotel, she gets more jealous and calls Ren to help her find Kazuma. After searching for a while, they find him waiting in the street. Then, they see Miseo arriving. The two enter another love hotel together, and Ayano becomes furious, punching a pole. Rin jokes about what she might do to Kazuma if she's this angry. Suddenly, a sniper fires at Kazuma. He is forced against a wall, and a group of soldiers begins shooting at him and throws grenades. When Ayano and Ren arrive, they find Kazuma's body, but they know he cannot be killed so easily. As expected, Kazuma survives and uses wind magic to defeat the attackers. Miseo tries to signal the sniper, but Kazuma already dealt with him. He tells Miseo that neither her magic nor her soldiers are enough to beat him. Ayano tells Miseo to come with her, but Miseo throws her purse and runs. Kazuma picks it up, and he and Ayano follow her to a rooftop. Miseo says she doesn't understand why she is being chased. But Ayano knows Miseo hired people to kill Kazuma and can't ignore it. Miseo creates a fireball, and Ayano summons her sword, getting ready to fight. Kazuma shows up and returns Miseo's purse. He says Ayano has nothing to do with this, and he doesn't care if Miseo attacks again because she's too weak. Ayano becomes angry and tries to burn him, but Kazuma's wind shield is too strong. No matter how hard she tries, she can't hurt him. When it starts raining, her flames die, and she falls to her knees in frustration. Crying, Ayano tells Kazuma he must pay for her brother's death. Kazuma tells her to do her best and walks away. Ayano and Ren follow him, while Miseo stays behind on the rooftop. Michael then appears and offers Miseo the power to get revenge. She looks at him with hope. Some days later, in a subway station, a strange monster made of slime attacks a woman and eats her alive. The monster is Miseo, who now feeds on people's life force to grow stronger. Michael watches and continues to convince her that what she is doing is not wrong. Ayano goes to a hotel to meet Kazuma about an important matter. Her friends join her because they think it's her first time being alone with a boy. But Ayano tells them she's there on Yugo's orders to talk business. Her friends still tease her, thinking that romance often starts from business talk. When she enters Kazuma's room, he makes a flirty comment, but Ayano quickly shuts him down by throwing an envelope at him. She tells him that a strange monster is attacking and killing teenagers in the city, with over 100 victims already. Yugo wants Kazuma to investigate since the Fuga clan is gone and asks Ayano to work with him. Kazuma studies the photos of the victims and understands that the monster drains energy from people. Even though Ayano secretly wishes Kazuma would pay attention to her, he stays focused on the case. He decides that Ayano would only slow him down and refuses her help. Upset, Ayano storms out and kicks a man on her way out. Her friends wonder if she just got rejected. Meanwhile, Kazuma secretly watches them and reveals he is using Ayano as bait to catch the monster. The atmosphere suddenly changes, and the monster appears. Ayano and her friends run into an alley to escape but get trapped. Ayano summons her flame sword and attacks the slime monster to protect her friends. Even though she fights hard, they get cornered. Just in time, Kazuma shows up and burns the monster to ashes. After things return to normal, Ayano thanks him, but gets angry when she learns he used her as bait. Kazuma leaves to look for Miseo, and Ayano follows him. Kazuma finds Miseo calmly sitting on a park bench. He asks why she's going so far for revenge, and she says she will keep killing and absorbing life energy until she becomes strong enough to defeat him. When Ayano sees the evil spirits around Miseo, she tries to stop her and attacks, but Kazuma holds her back. During the argument, Miseo escapes. Ayano gets angry that Kazuma let her go and warns him not to interfere again. Kazuma challenges her to stop him if she can, then disappears using wind magic. Meanwhile, Michael tells Miseo that he is an angel sent by God to help her. He convinces her to fully merge with the demonic slime, even though she hears the screams of the souls inside it. Michael tricks her into believing that everything she is doing is necessary to get her wish. Miseo finally agrees, and Michael is surprised that the Kanagi blood is strong enough to control the slime. At the same time, Yugo tells Ogami's family to take care of Miseo because she belongs to them. He also says she's no longer his daughter, which makes Ayano question what kind of father he is. Besides the Yagami family, Yugo asks for help from someone else. When Masayuki wonders if Kazuma is being kept away from the case, Yugo says Kazuma is no longer involved officially but will still do what he wants. Later that night, Masayuki meets Kurika. She tells him that Miseo is hiding in a church, and he takes his clan members there. Ayano and Ren also arrive. Kurika introduces herself as the chief of the special police. Ayano asks if she is trying to recruit Kazuma, but Kurika refuses to explain her connection with him. At the church, Miseo opens the door and welcomes her father, but he rejects her and refuses to be called her father anymore. Miseo looks around, surprised that Ayano isn't there to fight her. She thinks Ayano must be angry since Kazuma only pays attention to Miseo. Hearing this, Ayano gets furious and wants to beat her, but before she can act, Kazuma appears from the moonlight like a god, ready to take action. Ayano reaches the top floor of a skyscraper and wonders if she can really stop Kazuma. As he walks toward Miseo, she suddenly attacks him with a fireball. He blocks it with a windshield, but she keeps firing more flames to push him back. Kazuma removes his wind barrier, making Ayano fall. He catches her but drops her again when he realizes she seriously tried to kill him. Ayano gets upset that she lasted only a few seconds in the fight. However, she laughs when Kazuma jokes that even he can only last a few seconds. Kazuma knows Ayano is just trying to delay him, so she uses Ren as a barrier to protect herself. The Yagami brothers feel embarrassed that someone like her will lead the Kanagi family, but she has no choice. She only wants to buy time for the Yagami family to punish Miseo. However, Kazuma knows the truth is the opposite. Suddenly, a loud, powerful blast shakes the area. They rush to the church, but it's too late. All the members of the Yagami family are dead. Miseo shows no sorrow. To her, her only family was her brother Takeya, who was killed by Kazuma. Miseo attacks Kazuma with dark energy, but he blocks it easily. She sends many more blasts, but none hurt him. Ayano asks Miseo if she really thinks weak flames can beat Kazuma. Miseo believes she can win because Michael told her so. When Michael appears, she begs him to help her, but he knows she can never defeat Kazuma. Human power has limits from birth, so he lied to her. He feels amused at how easily humans believe lies. Miseo starts to realize that all her terrible actions were not her fate but her own choices. She breaks down in pain and faints. Ren and Ayano try to help her, but a dark energy barrier pushes them away. Kazuma explains that Miseo is leaking the life energy she had stolen from thousands of people. Michael begins absorbing that dark energy. It was his plan all along. He wants enough energy to destroy Kazuma. He reveals that he works for a powerful master who once killed Kazuma's friend. Kazuma becomes furious and attacks, but his strike is blocked by the darkness. Using Miseo's body, the slime monster transforms into a massive dragon god and destroys the church. Michael challenges them to fight it, warning that Miseo could die if they defeat the monster. Miseo is trapped somewhere inside its body. As the dragon attacks, Kazuma asks Ayano if she can summon the rare Kanagi Azure Hellfire. But that magic is too hard for her. The dragon breathes darkness again. Ayano asks Kazuma if he still plans to save Miseo. She summons her flames and charges to attack its face. The dragon quickly heals. When she burns its leg, it falls, but then launches tentacles at her. Kazuma protects her and gets badly hurt. As they fly in the air, Ren shields them from more attacks. Ayano complains, thinking Kazuma only cares about Miseo. But Kazuma says he just wants to protect everyone. He uses the power of the wind god but falls from injury. Ayano tells him to rest and let her and Ren handle the dragon. But Kazuma refuses to leave them alone against it. He hugs Ayano, praises her strength, and asks her to buy time while he prepares his final attack. Ren burns the dragon's mouth. When Ayano joins him, Ren sees Kazuma's blood on her clothes and becomes worried, but she says Kazuma is fine and charging his power. Kazuma starts calling wind spirits and opens the heavenly gate to gain the full power of the wind god. Ayano and Ren do their best to keep the dragon busy. Finally, Kazuma joins them again. He strengthens Ayano's sword with the purifying azure flame. When Ren sees her sword, he realizes it is the same powerful flame that belonged to his father. He trusts Ayano and Kazuma to win, since he has no strength left. Kazuma throws Ayano into the air, and she uses the blue flames to cut the dragon god in half. Michael is shocked. Even after absorbing the energy of thousands of souls, he still loses. When he looks into Kazuma's glowing blue eyes, he finally understands. Kazuma has made a contract with the Spirit King of the Wind. Michael vanishes. Miseo lies unconscious. Kazuma wakes her and tells her to get ready to return. He covers her with his jacket. Miseo wants to die, believing she can never make up for her sins. Kazuma tells her that wanting death is just an easy way to run from guilt. He says she still has to pay him back. When she agrees, Ayano gets annoyed and uses her purifying fire to knock Kazuma away. Later, during winter, Miseo becomes a nun on Yugo's orders to start a new life. When Yugo asks Kazuma why he saved her, Kazuma says she once protected him from bullies as a child by risking herself. Miseo never knew that the boy she helped back then was Kazuma. Before she leaves, she thanks him and promises to make something meaningful out of her life. One night, months after the last big fight, a girl at Ayano's school senses something strange near an old, dead cherry tree. She thinks she is just imagining things, but suddenly a glowing ball of light appears and scares her away. This strange event becomes the talk of the school, and even Yugo hears about it. However, Ayano never feels any dark power at her school, so Yugo believes it might not be serious. Still, since normal people are seeing this floating light, he decides to send Ayano to handle it. But he does not want her to go alone. He assigns someone to protect her during the case. Ayano is annoyed at first, thinking a bodyguard will just slow her down. But she is shocked when she finds out her guard is Kazuma. He teases her and pats her back just to annoy her. When she complains, Yugo offers to give the job to Karika instead. But Ayano refuses, knowing that Karika might get distracted by Kazuma rather than solving the problem. So she agrees to work with him. As they reach the school at night, Ayano wonders why Kazuma is interested in such a boring case. Kazuma is only here because Yugo promised him a big reward. He says he is just her bodyguard, not her teammate. Ayano starts searching for any strange energy but senses nothing. She asks Kazuma if he feels anything, but he stays quiet, saying it is not his job to investigate. Suddenly, something moves in the bushes, and Ayano shoots a fireball. But Kazuma trips her just in time to stop her. It turns out her school friends Yukari and Nanes are there. They are student council members and know about the strange light, which is known as a Hidodama. Ayano tells them to go home for their safety. But the girls are sure Kazuma will protect them too. Kazuma reminds Ayano that he only has to guard her, so if they join, she will have to protect them herself. Thinking her friends are getting the wrong idea about her and Kazuma, Ayano allows them to come along. They all walk through the dark school halls looking for the glowing ball. While they chat, Kazuma senses something and uses his wind magic, but it bounces back and lifts one of the girl's skirts. Ayano, thinking he did it on purpose, attacks him in anger. At that moment, the glowing light shows up, and the girls get excited to take a picture of it. Kazuma continues doing nothing but his bodyguard duty, which frustrates Ayano. She grabs his collar angrily, and he pushes her back with a kiss to her face. Ayano is furious, but before she can react more, the glowing light hits her face and tells her to leave. Ayano throws a fireball at it, but it escapes. The flames nearly burn her, but Kazuma puts out the fire with his wind. While they are chasing the light, Yugo relaxes at home with Ren and wonders if Kazuma and Ayano will ever be a real couple. Ren thinks it is unlikely since they always argue. Back at the school, the light uses wind to knock all three girls down. Ayano chases it, but it throws wet paper at her face, making her fall down the stairs. Yukari and Nanes help her up, but they all slip again and slam into a wall. The glowing ball keeps playing tricks on them. It even pretends to be a dead body and makes water shoot out from taps to soak them. They dry their clothes using Ayano's fire in an empty classroom. Ayano is angry that Kazuma is still quiet, but he says there is nothing to share yet and asks her to trust him. Kazuma suddenly senses a strange presence from the backyard. They go to check, and a bucket drops on Ayano's head. Feeling completely humiliated, Ayano goes wild and throws fireballs everywhere. Kazuma calmly asks the light to show itself. When it refuses, he beats it up using wind magic. Finally, they find out it is not a spirit but a small playful fairy. It was never dangerous and only wanted to play. Ayano gets mad and tries to attack the fairy, but Kazuma stops her. He says both she and the fairy are acting like children. To calm her down, he offers to take her to dinner. She agrees but demands something fancy. The fairy says she was just trying to grant the wish of an old man who wanted the cherry tree to bloom one last time. The group gathers around the tree, and together they make it blossom again. The glowing petals float in the air, and all the fairies disappear into the sky. The girls are happy the case is over, and they leave the school. Kazuma knew all along that these fairies just like to mess with people for fun. He says nothing because he secretly wanted them to annoy Ayano. She screams at the sky, cursing the fairies. One day at school, Ren's friends, Tatsuya and Kanon, argue over who gets to spend time with him. In their struggle, they accidentally let go of his hand, causing Kanon to fall. Tatsuya grabs Ren and runs away, but Kanon chases them, hits Tatsuya hard into a locker, and wins Ren back. Later that evening, Ren and Kanon walk together, arm in arm, while sharing a sandwich. She invites him to go to karaoke, and Ren wonders why someone like her wants to hang out with a guy like him. He feels that if he were a girl, he would choose someone strong like his older brother Kazuma. Meanwhile, Ayano uses her fire sword in Raiha to defeat a ghost. Kazuma, who is cold and doing nothing, watches and claps for her. He even jokes about clapping more for her later. Ayano wonders why her father, Yugo, hired someone like Kazuma to be her bodyguard when she is doing all the work. She asks him to buy her dinner with the money he made by freeloading, and he happily agrees. That night, Ren walks home feeling tired after spending the whole day with Kanon. On his way, he sees a girl singing beautifully in a park. Her name is Ayumi, and Ren is struck by how pretty she is. When she says she wants to play, he gives her his jacket because it is cold. At the same time, Kazuma and Ayano are having dinner at a fancy restaurant. Ayano enjoys the free food and even orders the most expensive dishes. Suddenly, Kazuma gets a call and leaves her behind. He meets a wind fairy named Tiana who calls him a contractor. Kazuma squeezes her for speaking openly about his powers. She apologizes and says her clan's treasure was stolen by humans, and without it, her people could die. She thought Kazuma would help for free since she is a spirit, but he refuses. He demands half of their gold and jewels in return, since her entire clan's future depends on this treasure. Meanwhile, as Ren and Ayumi talk about their hobbies, some men attack them. They knock Ren away and try to capture Ayumi. Ren kicks two of them, but one shoots at his feet. Ayumi tells him to run, but Ren melts their gun using his fire powers. When they realize he is from the Kanagi family, they say they are from the Tsuwabuki family and that Ayumi belongs to them. Ren refuses to hand her over and creates a fire barrier to scare them. The men run away. Ayumi asks if he did the right thing, and Ren says it would be shameful if he couldn't protect even one girl. She then asks him for a favor. At the same time, Yugo and Ayano receive a message from the Tsuwabuki family, accusing Ren of stealing their treasure and escaping with Ayumi. They threaten to kill him unless she is returned. Since they can't contact Ren, Ayano decides to find him herself. Yugo wants her to ask Kazuma for help, but Ayano wants to prove herself and leaves on her own. Back with Kazuma, Tiana shows him a picture of the missing treasure. Kazuma realizes it is with the Tsuwabuki family. In the Tsuwabuki estate, a servant named Yuji tells Lady Mayumi that Ayumi escaped because a Kanagi interfered. She becomes angry and steps on him to remind him of his place. Meanwhile, an earthquake shakes the ground near Mount Fuji. Kazuma uses his wind magic to search the Tsuwabuki mansion for the treasure but finds nothing. Tiana starts to panic, thinking she will be punished. But Kazuma tells her to calm down, as he believes they have lost the treasure and are searching for it inside their own mansion. Elsewhere, Kurika tells the guards to find Ayumi before an important ceremony. Kazuma knows about this ritual, which happens every 30 years during the first full moon. It is meant to stop Mount Fuji from erupting, and they need the treasure for it. Soon, the Tsuwabuki family detects Kazuma and Tiana inside the mansion. They attack, but Kazuma defends himself. Everyone is shocked to see the wind fairy with him. Kazuma pretends he belongs to her clan and warns them to return the treasure before tomorrow evening or face the consequences. Once they leave, Kazuma tells Tiana they will wait for the family to reveal the treasure's location themselves. He looks forward to destroying their corrupt family. Seeing his terrifying expression, Tiana wonders why the powerful Wind Spirit King ever chose to form a contract with someone like Kazuma. Ren and Ayumi visit a train station because Ayumi wishes to see the ocean one last time. When Ren asks why she says it's the last time, she avoids answering and holds onto his arm. Elsewhere, Tiana keeps talking loudly, which annoys Kazuma, so he taps her head and tells her to stay quiet because someone might hear her. After leaving the station, Ren and Ayumi feel the ground shake. Ayumi understands the meaning behind it and becomes sad. On their walk, she sees steamed buns and starts drooling, so Ren buys her some. While eating, he asks her to join the Kanagi family, promising to take care of her, but she refuses, saying she belongs to the Tsuwabuki family. Ren wonders why they treat her so badly even though she is very important for an upcoming ritual. Tiana still doesn't know what this ritual is about, so Kazuma explains. He says Mount Fuji exploded 300 years ago and released a huge amount of energy. That energy formed a powerful beast whose roars could shake the earth. The Tsuwabuki family stopped the beast with help from the Earth Spirit King, but their leader had to give their life. The seal only lasts 30 years, so the family keeps renewing it. Every time, the head of the family uses up all their life energy to seal the beast, which causes their death. This sacrifice has become a tradition. Ren realizes Ayumi will be the next to be sacrificed. He is shocked, but Ayumi says someone must do it, even if it's her. She is grateful to Ren for showing her kindness when no one else did. She is ready to die if it saves millions of people. However, before that, she wants to make real memories because the memories she has now were placed in her artificially. She wishes to have something that truly belongs to her. Ren promises to protect her and find a way to stop the beast without her death. He takes her to see the ocean at night and uses his power to make an artificial sun, showing her how it looks during the day. Ayumi is overwhelmed and cries from happiness. Suddenly, Mayumi and Yuji arrive. When Ren asks if they're sisters, Mayumi gets angry and demands her property back. She threatens that starting a fight with her could lead to war between their families. To calm things down, Ayumi goes to her, but Mayumi slaps her. Yuji grabs Ayumi and hits her face into the ground again and again. Ren can't watch anymore and attacks Yuji with fire. He declares he'll protect Ayumi with his life. Mayumi tells Yuji to kill Ren. Yuji uses earth magic to send spikes from the ground to attack him. Ren avoids the attacks and uses hellfire to turn the ground to magma, making Yuji's attacks useless. He blasts Yuji with fire and threatens Mayumi, saying she should let Ayumi go. Mayumi then reveals the truth. Ayumi is not a real human. She is Mayumi's clone, created just a month ago using Mayumi's memories. Ren doesn't believe it, but Ayumi confirms it. She was created to die in the ceremony. Mayumi also adds that Ayumi will die soon anyway because her life is short. Ren falls to his knees, shocked. Just then, Ayano arrives and runs toward Ren. Mayumi tells Detective Kurika to inform Yugo that their lost property is returned and they won't blame the Kanagi family for anything. Later, Kazuma wakes up and sees Ayumi leaving a car. Tiana reveals that a magical treasure is hidden inside Ayumi. She wants to cut Ayumi open and take the treasure, but Kazuma says it would be more fun to take it during the ritual. Meanwhile, Kurika praises Yuji for bringing Ayumi back. After he leaves, she congratulates Mayumi for not having to be sacrificed anymore. She then takes both girls somewhere. Yuji sees them leaving and asks where Mayumi is because she hasn't returned to her room. Kurika is impressed by his loyalty and takes him to an ancient place called the Sub Sanctuary. There, he sees Mayumi trapped inside a crystal. He becomes angry, but Kurika explains that Ayumi escaped before they could finish her adjustments. She doesn't have enough power for the ritual anymore. So they decide to use Mayumi instead to fill the missing energy. Kurika assures him that Mayumi won't die, she's just lending her power. Since they worry that Kazuma might try to stop the ritual, Kurika offers to give Yuji special power to protect Mayumi. Ren is feeling very down after returning, and Yugo learns about his sadness. When Ayano comes to visit, Yugo tells her that the Tsuwabuki family ceremony is none of their business and warns her not to interfere. At the same time, Kurika tells her sealed father that all threats to the ceremony are gone, including him. He had known about her plan to use the ceremony for her own goals and had once tried to stop her by killing her. But he failed, and she trapped him in a prison of earth, mocking him for being useless. Later, Ayano finds Ren sitting silently near a river. He doesn't respond to her, so she pushes him into the water to get his attention. She's upset that Ren did nothing when Ayumi was taken. Ren explains that sealing the beast was too important, and Ayumi was created as a clone for that purpose. But Ayano doesn't care about whether Ayumi is human or not. All that matters to her is that Ren is her friend. Ren starts to question whether saving Ayumi is the right thing, since freeing her might also release the beast hidden under Mount Fuji. But in the end, he decides to at least see Ayumi one more time and say sorry. Ren agrees to take Ayano to the Tsuwabuki family's hideout but asks her to not cause trouble. That night, Ayumi is taken to the sanctuary for her role in the ceremony. Kureha feels sorry for her, but she can't do anything to help. Suddenly, a guard rushes in to report intruders. Ayano had already attacked some guards, burning them after they suddenly attacked her. As Ren dodges some earth spikes, he tries to explain that he just wants to see Ayumi. But the guards don't trust him. So Ayano attacks and clears the path, and they head toward the mansion. However, a giant stone golem blocks them. Ayano attacks it with fire, but it has no effect. The golem shoots earth bullets, which Ayano dodges, and she tells Ren to go on while she fights the golem. But the golem grabs Ren. When Ayano tries to free him, she gets thrown into a wall. The golem threatens to break Ren's bones if she moves. Hearing the golem's voice, Ren realizes it's actually Yuji. Kurika had given him the golem's power to guard the ceremony because any disturbance could risk Mayumi's life. Yuji doesn't care about his own life as long as Mayumi is safe. Ren understands Yuji's loyalty but disagrees with the idea of sacrificing everything for someone without getting anything back. Yuji gets angry and tries to slam Ren, but a wind blade cuts off his arm. Kazuma and Tiana arrive to help. Ren tells them Yuji was once human and gave up his body to become a golem for Mayumi's protection. This mindset of giving up oneself for others is common in the Tsuwabuki family. Kazuma dislikes this way of thinking. Ren shares that Mayumi had loved Yuji since she was young. Since she knew she might be sacrificed one day, she asked Yuji to catch her if she tried to run away. Yuji agreed and devoted his life to her. He now refuses to let anyone reach the mansion. Before the fight, Ren asks Kazuma if he would risk his life to protect him. Kazuma says he would find a way for both of them to survive. Inspired by this, Ren tries to talk to Yuji and says their family's way of thinking is wrong. He believes there should be a path where everyone lives happily. But that won't be possible unless they defeat the beast under the mountain. Suddenly, a massive wave of sand comes toward them. Ren uses fire to break it and attacks Yuji's golem form with a strong technique that clears the magic around him. Ayano is surprised because even her most powerful attacks didn't work, but Ren manages to purify the energy, turning Yuji into a golem. Ren believes the true enemy is the beast, so he wants Ayano and Kazuma to focus on it. Just then, a flying rock hits them. Kurika appears. Ayano tries to attack her with fire, but it doesn't work. Kurika mocks Yuji for failing despite all the power she gave him. Kazuma realizes Kurika is using gravity magic, which comes from the beast. Tiana praises him for figuring it out. Kurika explains that she had fused a part of the beast's power into Yuji to make him a golem. Kazuma quickly sends Ren flying toward the mansion using wind power. Ren lands inside a secret cave where he finds Ayumi. The guards try to stop him, but he ignores them and apologizes to Ayumi for not helping her before. Mayumi is trying to take Ayumi away, but Ren stops them. He promises to save both of them and tells the guards that he already defeated Yuji, which makes them run away. Ren convinces Ayumi that they can still find a way where everyone lives. Even though Ayumi is supposed to die whether or not the ceremony happens, Ren encourages her to live her life to the fullest. She starts crying and says she wants to live a happy life with him. As they hold hands, Kazuma comes in after leaving Ayano to fight Kurika alone and asks Ren if he's ready to fight the beast. Ayano's fire attack gets absorbed by Kurika's gravity ball, and she is pushed back. Kurika, also known as the powerful woman leading the attack, tells Ayano that even the Kanagi clan cannot stand against the power of the monster. She reveals that she was born without the ability to use earth magic and wants real power to change her fate. Inside a cave, Ren asks Kazuma to help save Mayumi, who is trapped in a crystal pillar. Kazuma uses wind blades to cut the pillar open, but this action causes the whole cave to collapse. Their path to escape gets blocked, so Kazuma blasts a hole toward the surface and takes everyone outside. When they reach the surface, they see Ayano still fighting Kurika. Just then, the leader of the Tsuwabuki clan begs Kazuma to stop his daughter Kurika. Ayano tries to attack Kazuma in anger, but he blocks her. He then cuts Kurika's magic attack in half and tells her that the ceremony she is preparing can't continue. However, Kurika is determined to carry on. Kazuma figures out her plan. She wants to weaken the beast just enough so she can absorb all of its power. She believes she is controlling the beast, but Kazuma explains that it's the other way around. The beast gave her a piece of its power when she was born and sealed away her earth magic talent, tricking her into believing she needed to perform the ritual. Kurika remembers her painful childhood filled with rejection and loneliness because of her lack of magic. She finally admits the truth to herself. Kazuma realizes that the monster must have been sealed inside the crystal pillar in the cave. Right then, magma bursts from the hole, and the terrifying monster Xenon rises from it, roaring loudly. Xenon takes back the power he gave Kurika, making her collapse in pain. Everyone starts to fight Xenon. Ayumi tries to stop Ren from joining the fight, worried about his safety, but Ren promises to return alive. As Kazuma uses wind attacks and Ayano tries to cut the monster's head with her flame sword, none of their attacks have any effect. Kazuma picks up Ayano and flies away to protect her from Xenon's gravity magic. Kurika wakes up and finds out that she can now use earth magic again. While others attack Xenon without success, Kazuma understands that the creature is using its powers to create a shield around its body. Ayano asks him to use the Spirit King's power, but Kazuma says he can only use it for 5 minutes and must make it count. Kurika attacks Xenon with sharp earth spears and demands the creature return the time and life it stole from her. But she gets blasted away. Seeing this, Ayumi begins to cry and watches as Ren also struggles. When he is thrown into the air by the monster, Kazuma rescues him. Ayumi realizes that she has no choice left. She begins the ceremony to weaken the beast, knowing her body won't survive it. Ren begs her to stop, but Kazuma tells him she already knows the risk and is doing it for Ren because she wants to live her short life with him. Kazuma says they must defeat Xenon now. He asks Ren and Ayano to help him. Kazuma then opens the gates of heaven to use divine power. He launches Xenon into the sky with a strong windstorm. Ren and Ayano work together to destroy Xenon's shield. Finally, Kazuma finishes the creature with a massive tornado. After defeating Xenon, Ayumi falls down. Ren runs to her, and Kazuma stops Ayano from going after them. He explains the truth: Ayumi is not a clone, but a real human girl. The leader of the Tsuwabuki clan used a magical item called the Fairy's Egg to speed up her growth so she could be sacrificed instead of Mayumi. Kazuma sadly admits he is too weak to save her. Ayumi, however, is not sad. She tells Ren not to feel sorry for her. Even though their time together was short, she treasures every second. Mayumi also realizes how badly Ayumi was treated by their clan. As Ayumi begins to fade into dust, Ren starts to cry. She tells him not to cry, since she wants her last memory of him to be a happy one. Ren finally tells Ayumi that he loves her, and she says she loves him too before disappearing. The fairy's egg falls from her body as she turns into dust. Heartbroken, Ren cries loudly and painfully. The next day, Ren sits quietly near the water to remember Ayumi. Kazuma joins him and says that even though Ayumi may have been created, Ren helped her become a real person with emotions. But Ren already knows she had a heart from the beginning. Ayano comes to meet them, and together, they walk away while Ren remembers all the happy moments he shared with Ayumi. A few days later at school, Ayano sits in class, lost in thought while imagining Kazuma looking cool with his magic sword. Her teacher catches her daydreaming, and during break time, her friend Yukari teases her about her upcoming date with Kazuma. But Ayano, being the world's most stubborn tsundere, refuses to admit she likes him. She tells her friends it's not a date and says she only wants Kazuma to treat her to expensive food because she fought Catherine by herself. Her friends, however, can tell she's just too shy to admit her feelings. That night, Ayano gets dressed up for her dinner with Kazuma. She acts like she only cares about food, but deep inside she's nervous and excited. While Ayano heads to meet Kazuma, her younger cousin Ren massages Yugo's back and tells him he saw Ayano wearing a fancy dress. Yugo admits that he hopes Ayano and Kazuma will grow closer. He believes Kazuma is important for their family's future and wants those two awkward teens to become a couple. But no matter how many chances he gives them, They never seem to make any romantic progress. Inside the restaurant, Kazuma wears a formal suit. Ayano tells him he looks good, and he jokes by asking if she's falling for him again, which makes her angry. As they continue eating, a server brings them a bottle of fancy wine to end their meal nicely. Just then, a group of robbers barges in and takes everyone hostage, stealing their money and valuables. Kazuma and Ayano ignore them and keep eating. The gang leader gets annoyed and asks if they didn't hear his warning. Kazuma calmly tells him that the girl in front of him is not in the mood to be messed with. Suddenly, a flaming creature appears and burns the robbers' weapons. The monster is a spirit servant of a woman named Catherine McDonald, who arrives at the scene. Catherine is from a famous American family known for powerful fire magic. They create one strong spirit by combining many spirits together and use it as a servant. Ayano doesn't recognize her and assumes the Americans combine spirits only because they can't control more than one. Catherine becomes angry and challenges Ayano. She wants Ayano's sacred sword, Inraiha, to prove that her fire magic is stronger. Ayano cannot accept such arrogance, especially from someone who didn't lift a finger against the robbers. So, the two prepare for a battle. Catherine wraps herself in flames and calls out her strongest spirit servant, Metatron. Ayano notices that this creature holds thousands of spirits within its body and senses how powerful it is. She feels confident that her own fire can protect her, but she is wrong. Metatron's fire is special and can even hurt Kanagi clan members like her. Metatron shoots fire bullets and strikes at Ayano with a sword. Its strange movements confuse her, but Kazuma tells her not to treat it like a normal creature. With his help, she manages to slice it in half. She thinks the fight is over, but the creature recovers quickly and attacks again. Ayano asks Kazuma for help, but he is already gone. Metatron knocks her through a wall, and Catherine tells her to give up. Ayano refuses to lose and keeps fighting. Meanwhile, Yugo receives a call from Kurika, who tells him that Ayano is fighting inside a building possessed by an evil spirit. This spirit cannot attack directly but increases the negative emotions of people around it. It made the robbers go wild earlier. Kazuma had already found the spirit, but Ayano accidentally purified it during her fight with Metatron. At one point, the creature attacks her from behind, and the battle shakes the entire building. Ayano is soon out of strength. Kazuma shows up again and gives her advice, saying she's using her fire wrong. When she cuts Metatron again, she realizes that Catherine is just like her, hanging on with all her energy. Ayano remembers Kazuma's earlier tip and finally understands. She starts gathering fire spirits and surrounds Metatron in her own flames. This time, instead of only attacking, she uses her power to purify the spirits inside the monster. It works, but the spirits explode and destroy the creature. Kazuma saves Ayano by carrying her outside just before the building collapses. Catherine and her servant also survive, but Catherine calls the battle a draw for now. Ayano protests, saying she won, and vows to beat her clearly next time. She wants to fight again immediately, but Kazuma tells her to relax because the building is about to fall apart. He asks her to use her flames to destroy the top floor so it doesn't collapse on anyone. Ayano agrees, even though she is extremely tired and can barely stand afterward. Still hungry, the two go to a nearby ramen stall. Ayano complains at first but enjoys the food once she tastes it. During their meal, Kazuma pulls out the wine bottle he had saved during the chaos. As he pours it, some of it splashes on Ayano's face. Kazuma leans in and licks the drop from her cheek, which shocks her so much that she can't even react. Back at the house, Yugo receives a call about the massive damage they caused to the building and realizes he has to pay for it all. The next day, Catherine's spirit beast Metatron chases an evil spirit through a busy area. With one strike of its sword, it destroys the spirit. People are shocked, but Catherine calms them down and says she is there to protect them. News of this event quickly reaches Kurika. She calls Kazuma and asks him to help find a mysterious fire magic user. She describes the suspect as a blonde girl with a big chest. Just then, they see Catherine scolding a waiter nearby, and Kazuma confirms she is the one they're looking for. Catherine tells them she is only training to defeat Ayano and wants to take her sword. Kurika laughs and says the only sword she'll get is Kazuma's. Kazuma doesn't think Catherine is strong enough to beat Ayano. He advises her to work on her spirit beast instead of wasting time. Catherine doesn't want advice from someone who can't use fire magic and demands an apology. Kazuma, known for never saying sorry, refuses. She challenges him to a duel. At an empty field, she commands Metatron to attack Kazuma, but he defeats it easily. Catherine is surprised by his strength. Kazuma explains that her fighting method is weak and that Ayano could burn Metatron instantly. Catherine doesn't like what he says but knows he's right. She wonders why he is helping her. Kazuma says he is only working for money. Catherine asks him to work for her instead. The next day, at a fast food place, Ayano hears that Kazuma is hanging out with a beautiful blonde girl. Yukari says they look good together. Ayano, who never admits she likes Kazuma, acts like she doesn't care. At that moment, Kazuma arrives and gives Ayano a duel challenge from Catherine. Ayano realizes Catherine is the girl with Kazuma. He refuses to explain more and leaves. Later, Kazuma helps Catherine train a new magic spell. He says this spell has a better chance against Ayano than Metatran. Since both girls use similar fighting styles, Catherine needs to improve. Kazuma tells her to train alone because he wants to go home. As he walks away, Catherine follows but trips on a rock and lands on Kazuma's chest. Hearing his heartbeat, she blushes and realizes she has fallen in love with him. That night, Ayano angrily punches her pillow with Kazuma's face on it. The day before the duel, she eats many desserts to feel better because Kazuma is ignoring her. Later, Kazuma comes to the same cafe with Catherine. Ayano is surprised to see them together. Catherine tells Ayano to be ready for tomorrow. Ayano asks if they came just to tease her, but Catherine says they are celebrating her training being complete. Catherine hugs Kazuma's arm and warns Ayano to stay far away from her future man. The mood becomes tense until Kazuma stops them. Catherine says that if she wins the duel, she will take Kazuma to America. Ayano doesn't want that, but Kazuma says he will go anywhere if the money is good. Ayano becomes sad and runs away, followed by her friends. Kazuma tells Catherine to do her best because Ayano is really angry now. Ayano walks alone, followed by Yukari and Nanes. She stops and tells them she will not let Kazuma leave Japan. She wants him to stay and pay for her food forever. She plans to drain his wallet dry. The next day, the duel begins at the same place where Kazuma once fought Ryuya. Catherine summons her guardian, and Ayano calls her fire spirit in Raiha. As they charge at each other, Ayano easily purifies Metatran with her flames. She thinks the battle is already over, but Catherine smiles. Ayano jumps in to wipe off her smile, but fire rains from above. Small spirit wisps surround her and begin attacking. This is Kazuma's plan. He knows Ayano always tries to defeat her enemy in one strong hit, so he uses that weakness against her. Her friends call Kazuma a traitor, but he only wants Ayano to grow stronger. Ayano dodges the fire bullets but soon gets hit. The wisps keep attacking until she falls. Catherine asks her to admit defeat and gets excited about taking Kazuma to meet her father. But Ayano won't give up. She jumps up and destroys all the spirit wisps at once. Using their energy, she powers up her sword and blasts Catherine with full force. This time, Catherine loses. Though she stands up again, she doesn't plan to fight anymore and accepts defeat. The two girls shake hands, and Yukari and Nanes realize that Kazuma only arranged this fight to help Ayano improve. But just like her, he hides his feelings and won't admit why he did it. Since Ayano wins, she asks Kazuma to take her out for dinner. But Catherine stops her. She says that while she gave up taking him to America, she never said she would stop chasing him. Some days later, a strange website asks a gamer if he wants power. At school, Nanes shows off her athletic skills by jumping over a pole, and all the girls admire her. But a creepy boy named Utsumi secretly takes inappropriate photos of her. Later, while the girls play tennis, he continues taking more pictures. Nanes becomes angry and hits him in the face with a football, then breaks his camera. Utsumi tries to lie and says he was taking photos for the yearbook, but the girls don't believe him. When they check his bag, they find secret pictures from the girls' changing room, taken using hidden cameras. Furious, the girls beat him up with brooms. Nanes tells them to stop, thinking Utsumi has learned his lesson. But instead, he misunderstands her kindness and believes she likes his photos. He even thinks she wants him to take pictures of only her. Disgusted, Nanes' friend hits him again, this time with a metal baseball bat. In the city, Kazuma and Ayano are stopped by a muscular man. He tries to act tough, but they ignore him and continue arguing. When he attacks, Kazuma quickly defeats him by breaking his leg and knocking him out. The man transforms back to his normal form, and Kazuma considers telling Karika about the strange event. Ayano feels jealous of Karika and doesn't want to meet her. When Kazuma teases her, Ayano walks away angrily and sees Utsumi muttering about revenge. The next day, Nanes finds out that her friend Sujino, the one who used the bat on Utsumi, is now in the hospital with a high fever and is in a coma. Yukari jokes that Utsumi might have cursed her. While unconscious, Sujino dreams of the moment Utsumi accepted the power from the mysterious website and remembers getting hit by a car. Utsumi continues targeting all the girls who hurt him, and soon, most of them fall ill or meet with accidents. Nanes hears some boys talking about how Utsumi is cursing the girls, but they wonder why Nanes is still fine. They think maybe Utsumi is saving her for last. Yukari tells Ayano about the strange things happening to all the girls, but Ayano believes Nanace will be safe. After 3 days, Utsumi returns to school and acts strangely. He pushes a student aside and claims he now has superpowers. He tells everyone that he was chosen and now has a deadly curse power. Nanace ignores him at first but agrees to talk when he insists. Outside, Utsumi tries to scare her by pretending to shoot energy from his hands, but he fails. Nanace is unimpressed and tells him that even with powers, he is still pathetic. Utsumi becomes angry and says he can kill using his curse powers. He demands Nanace to beg him for mercy and agree to be his servant. But Nanace doesn't back down. As he charges another energy attack, she uses a taser to shock him and knocks him out. The girls had planned this in advance. The taser was Yukari's, but she doesn't say where she got it. Kurika soon arrives and arrests Utsumi. Yukari later gives her a full report, and Kurika jokes that she wishes Yukari worked for her. Kurika explains that many people in the city are suddenly getting superpowers. Even the muscular man Kazuma fought earlier was one of them. Kurika says these powered people are fighting on the streets and harming normal people. Yukari says she read online that they get powers from a game-like website and must hurt others to become stronger. Kurika asks her to share the site link because her team is small and the cases are increasing. She then asks Ayano and Yukari to help with the investigation. Yukari agrees right away, but Ayano doesn't want to. So Yukari forces her to join. When Ayano hears that Kazuma is also helping, she becomes curious and asks if his partner is a beautiful woman. Kurika says it's a man, but Ayano still feels uncomfortable, thinking Kazuma can fall for anyone. That evening, the new male partner is attacked in an alley by a hellhound and its owner. Kazuma watches from a distance, observing everything. The attacker talks about reaching a place called Pandemonium to upgrade his powers. He speaks like he's in a video game, which makes Kazuma more suspicious. When the hellhound attacks, the rookie shoots it in the face, but it keeps coming. Kazuma steps in, chops the beast, and defeats the owner. The rookie cries, not understanding why he has to be part of the special police. Kazuma tells him to go rest. At that moment, Kazuma sees someone who looks just like his past love, Suiling, and is completely shocked. Kazuma chases after Suiling when she suddenly runs away, but in doing so, he loses sight of both her and the enemy's master, who escapes. Meanwhile, Ren is spending time with Kanon until Tatsuya shows up and takes him away, wanting to spend time alone with him. While the two boys argue, another boy approaches Kanon, reminding her about a karaoke plan. She refuses to go, but Tatsuya encourages her to accept so she can leave them alone. Annoyed, Kanon breaks the boy's foot and tells him clearly that she is not interested. However, the boy misunderstands her rejection and continues to believe she likes him. Ren steps in to stop the boy from harassing her, but when the boy brags about his looks, Kanon and Tatsuya work together and slam him into the ground. As the boy tries to punch Kanon, Ren grabs him and pushes him against a wall. The boy then threatens to get his older brother, who has magical powers. He claims he will take revenge, while Ren's group laughs at him, thinking he is joking. But he is serious and says he will teach them a lesson. At the same time, Ayano and her friends are enjoying many desserts at a bakery. She asks Yukari why she is not afraid to investigate people with magic. Yukari reveals she also has powers but uses them to protect others. She tells her friends they don't have to stay with her if they feel uncomfortable, but they stay because they care about her. Later that night, Yukari sees a strange girl in a maid outfit being chased by Catherine. The two magic users fight in the middle of the city without caring about the people around them. Ayano gets involved, thinking the maid is the cause of the recent troubles. But it turns out that the maid is actually working for Kurika and shows her police badge. While Catherine laughs proudly, Ayano wonders why someone like her was hired. The maid starts throwing magical stars, which Ayano and Catherine destroy. Catherine asks how she got her powers, and the maid says she received them through something called Pandemonium. She charges up a strong attack, but Ayano purifies her magic, and Metatron finishes the fight by burning her. Afterward, Catherine informs Kurika that the girl is now in her custody and takes her away without sharing any more details with Ayano. Meanwhile, Kazuma stands alone on a high building. He finally answers Kurika's call, but he has no interest in talking because seeing someone like Suiling has deeply affected him. Elsewhere, Ren and his friends are kidnapped by some thugs and taken into an alley. The boy they had beaten earlier appears with his older brother, who uses fire magic. He orders his brother to burn them all. The fire user attacks with flames, but Ren easily blocks them. He scolds the man for attacking normal people, which is against the rules. But the man doesn't know about any rules and says he got his powers from a game. When he summons a phoenix to defeat Ren, Ren fights back using flame serpents and notices that the man is being controlled by a spirit. The younger brother is shocked to see his strong sibling getting beaten and blames Bernhard for giving someone else fire powers. Ren guesses that Bernhard may have done this to prove who the true fire master is. The enemy unleashes all of his fire, but Ren blocks it with his hand and uses purification flames to remove the spirit inside. The man is surprised when the attack does no damage, but soon realizes that his flames are gone. Ren explains that he has erased his fire powers. All of the enemies flee in fear, while Tatsuya and Kanon smile, proud of Ren's strength. Later, the maid tells Kurika that she got her magic from a strange website called Pandemonium. She says that her computer screen turned white and made her faint. When she woke up, she had powers. Kurika and Izumi learn that this is part of a spirit summoning process, and many others have received their powers the same way. However, no one has been able to enter the website a second time. The only clear thing is that the users receive experience points through emails. Once they have enough points, they are invited to Pandemonium and promoted to a stronger class. The fire user from earlier had also received his power this way. He only remembers that Pandemonium is located between two tall towers, but doesn't know anything more. Ren investigates and finds the towers. When they enter, it looks empty between them, but Ren senses something strange. He uses a fireball to reveal a hidden space distortion. After confirming that Pandemonium exists, he tries to leave, but Bernhard suddenly appears and kidnaps him. Kanon and Tatsuya, who were following behind, realize that Ren is no longer with them. Kazuma goes to a meeting at the Kanagi estate where Kurika tells Yugo and Gunma about a serious problem. Teenagers are getting magical powers from spirits, and they don't know the danger. If they keep using these powers, the spirits will slowly destroy them from the inside. Kurika has already arrested some of them and gathered proof. She now wants help from the Kanagi family. But Kazuma is not really listening. He can't stop thinking about Suiling. Then, he remembers that her eyes look different. Realizing someone might be tricking him, he leaves the meeting in anger, ready to find the truth and punish whoever is behind it. As Kazuma storms off, Ren tries to follow him but receives a phone call from Kanon. She tells him that Ren has suddenly gone missing. This makes everyone worried. Kazuma, Ayano, and the others quickly meet up and decide to find him. A rookie agent leads them to the place where Ren disappeared. Kazuma then senses a strange space distortion on the upper floors of a nearby building. The area is hidden, so even his vision is blocked. Kurika understands that only a powerful force can create such a space, but Kazuma doesn't wait. He uses wind magic to cut open the barrier and enters the strange place alone. Kurika then orders the building to be evacuated. She knows Kazuma won't go easy on anyone who kidnaps his brother. As Kazuma explores the place known as Pandemonium, Ayano and Kurika take a lift to follow him. When they reach the distorted area, the wind pressure is so strong that it becomes hard to stand. Ayano wants to destroy the barrier completely, but Kurika stops her. She doesn't want the public to know anything. Instead, she uses her powers to open a gate. They walk through a huge hall until they meet a mysterious girl named Lapis. Ayano learns that Lapis works for Bernhard, the man behind all of this. Ayano demands to meet Bernhard, but Lapis refuses and warns them to leave or be destroyed. She holds a massive sword and blocks their way. Ayano summons her flame spirit in Raiha and attacks, but Lapis' sword is extremely strong. Even though Ayano hits her with fire, Lapis absorbs it and fires it back. Then, Lapis jumps high to crush Ayano, who barely dodges it. Ayano is annoyed that Kurika isn't helping her, but Kurika is not strong enough to fight someone like Lapis. Meanwhile, Ren is locked in a dark room and uses his fire to see. Suddenly, Bernhard lights up the room and greets him. He offers Ren a chance to upgrade his magical level, but Ren refuses. He wants Bernhard to stop giving power to people and using them as test subjects. Bernhard admits that this is all part of his experiment. Back in the battle, Ayano continues to struggle against Lapis. She tries a large fire attack, but Lapis reflects it again. At the same time, Kazuma is trapped in a maze of strange space energy. If he tries to destroy it, innocent lives in the building may be harmed. So he carefully uses special wind magic from Valia to understand the area and shuts the magic off quickly to avoid risks. It works, and he finds the exit. Kazuma finally enters Bernhard's hall and rushes to hug his younger brother. He quickly realizes that the man in front of him is Bernhard himself. Kazuma remembers sparing Bernhard's life in the past after defeating his teacher. But Bernhard tells Kazuma not to get full of himself. He says Kazuma is only alive because he never thought him worthy of attention. Kazuma laughs at him and then asks if he is the one who made someone look like Suiling. Right then, Ayano uses a massive fire attack and break through into the hall. When Kazuma turns to look, he freezes in shock. Lapis, the girl Ayano was fighting, looks exactly like Suiling. After that, Ayano tries to hit Lapis using her powers, but Lapis blocks and dodges everything with her sword. Just when Ayano is about to finish her, Kazuma steps in and sends a blast of wind to stop her. He keeps looking at Lapis because she reminds him of someone he once made a promise to, and he can't forget it. This only makes Kazuma even more angry, and he starts yelling at Bernhard, asking him who Lapis really is. He says there's no way that girl is Suiling. Still, Kazuma doesn't believe anything Bernhard says and tells him that he let the devil take everything from her heart and her body. Bernhard tells Kazuma that the girl called Lapis is what's left of Suiling, the girl he couldn't protect because he was too weak back then. As soon as Kazuma tries to attack Bernhard out of anger, Lapis steps in and blocks the strike. Bernhard then says it's enough for today and decides to leave. He explains that he has already given the young people in this country great power, and he gave that same power to Lapis too. But unlike the others, Lapis has the class of a sword master. Bernhard tells Lapis to destroy the building before they leave, so Lapis changes her sword into a giant one and cuts the whole building in half with one swing. Kazuma quickly saves everyone just before the building falls, but after that, he disappears without a trace. Later, Kurika shows an edited video that they plan to share with the media. No one has heard from Kazuma since he rescued them from the collapse. Kanagi is still surprised they got out so easily, so Ayano explains that Kazuma's wind helped them escape. Kanagi warns Ayano to be ready the next time she has to face this enemy. Ren then says that the Pandemonium has already been destroyed, but Kurika explains that the video was actually taken after it was destroyed last night. Kurika reveals that most of the people with powers who were locked up in cells have gotten out and run away from their rooms. Strange words written in blood show up on the walls, and these blood messages ask if they want to make their powers better by getting upgrades and more power just by changing their class. Kurika tells Ayano that there is a new place of total chaos happening right now, and she says that these blood messages are coming from that bad place. Kurika also tells Ayano that this was the choice that the person named Utsumi made, and Ayano gets really upset when she hears this. When Kurika sees that Ayano is upset, she says that this blood writing was found in Utsumi's isolation cell where he was kept alone. Kurika is worried that Utsumi might try to go after Nane's, but she tells everyone that they don't need to worry because security is already in place to keep Nane safe. However, Gunma then tells the group that Bernhard is actually the council chairman of a group called Almagest. He explains that Almagest is a magic group that's really well known in Europe, and they are seen as one of the top experts when it comes to modern magic. He also says that Almagest doesn't like Kazuma and has something against him. Kurika decides to explain what happened 4 years ago. She says that before Kazuma became the contractor, he met a woman named Sui. Kazuma and Sui lived a simple but happy life together. Kazuma helps out at Sui's restaurant and works hard every day. During that time, Kazuma becomes a better person because before that, he was angry and lost after being kicked out of his home, but Sui doesn't care about that as she sees him for who he is and doesn't care if he has powers or not. At the same time, Kazuma thinks about the moment he met Sui. In his memory, Sui looks at him and asks if he would be able to protect her, and Kazuma answers yes without any doubt. The two of them then share a kiss under the soft light of the moon. But soon after that, something in Sui's behavior changes. She suddenly disappears without a word. This makes Kazuma feel angry and hurt all over again, and then he starts laughing like he's lost control, and his eyes glow bright red as he finally enters a dark state. Next, Ayano and Kurika go to Kazuma's hotel to check on him, but when they get there, they find out that he's not in his room. Kurika tells Ayano that the hotel staff said Kazuma hasn't returned ever since that chaos happened. She also tries calling him, but his phone isn't working, and the call doesn't go through at all. Later, there is some competition between some fighters who have powers. Two fighters named Shin the Shining and Lai the Devil are chosen to face each other in a match. Lai tells Shin that he upgraded himself from the first class to the second class and became a seed. Still, Shin says Lai doesn't even have time to show off his strength since he's only just a magic beast user. In the beginning, Lai has the advantage and looks like he's going to win because he uses his summon beast to land heavy attacks on Shin and hurt him pretty badly. But after doing some damage, Shin finally focuses and turns things around, becoming nearly impossible to beat. He fights back with full power, destroying each of Lai's beasts one by one, and Lai feels the pain from every single one being torn apart. After that, Kazuma shows up and Lai tries to fight him, but Kazuma quickly proves who's in control and easily overpowers him. He then uses his power to dig deep into Lai's mind, pulling out every bit of information he can find. But even after searching his thoughts, Kazuma doesn't get the answer he wants, so he moves on to Shin next. He does the same thing, going through Shin's mind looking for the location of Pandemonium, but it isn't there either. Instead, he ends up finding something else as important information about Utsumi. All the people watching get terrified and start running away after seeing what Kazuma just did. Not long after, Kurika, Ayano, and Ren arrive at the scene. Kurika tells them that Kazuma has been going wild lately, desperately trying to find out where Pandemonium is. On the other hand, Utsumi has been promoted to the 3rd class, and he is now a rune master. That night, Izumi and Catherine are both on duty to watch Nane's house. Suddenly, a force appears and breaks through Izumi's protection barrier. However, Izumi is left weak after this and Catherine quickly calls out Metatron, getting ready to launch an attack. Right at that moment, Kazuma shows up, and for a second, Catherine thinks he's there to help them. But then Izumi speaks up and tells her that Kazuma is actually the one who broke the barrier. Hearing this shocks Catherine, but even though she's surprised, she refuses to back down and won't let Nanes be taken away without a fight. Later, Catherine faces Kazuma and chooses to start an attack using her powerful spirit Metatron, but Kazuma shows his much stronger abilities by easily beating her and making her fall unconscious without using much energy at all. After this happens, Catherine wakes up and sees a very disturbing sight where Nanes leaves the house and walks away from them. The next morning, Ayano thinks about Kazuma and how he continues to think about his girlfriend instead of paying attention to her, and later that same night, Ren walks through the park with his friends when they hear people talking nearby about a strong magic wind user who have been causing problems in their area. Ren and his friends become very curious and run quickly toward the loud noises, wanting to discover what is happening and what has caused all the trouble and chaos around them. When they arrive at the location, they see a tense situation where one of the local power users steps forward and gets ready to fight against Kazuma. The fighter clearly wants to test how good he is and gain some fighting experience by defeating someone as famous and powerful as Kazuma has become. But Kazuma does not hold back any of his strength at all as he shows exactly how powerful he really is by easily knocking the person down with almost no effort or struggle. After that first attack, he continues attacking the opponent, making him suffer very badly, without showing even the smallest amount of mercy or kindness. Ren appears while Kazuma is still in the middle of attacking his opponent, and he tries to talk to his older brother, hoping that maybe there is still some part of the old Kazuma remaining inside him somewhere. But Kazuma does not seem like the same person he used to be anymore, and he acts like someone completely different from before, coldly telling Ren to stay out of his business and not to get involved in the things he is doing right now. Seeing how serious and dangerous the entire situation has become, Tatsuya quickly grabs Ren by the arm, and all 3 of them run away from the area as fast as their legs can carry them, feeling very shaken and disturbed by the terrible things they just witnessed. Just looking at Kazuma in this frightening state fills them with fear and gives them a horrible feeling about what terrible things he might do next. Later on, Ayano and her friends go to visit the local hospital, hoping to have a conversation with the power user who fought against Kazuma earlier. They want to get any kind of helpful information that might help them understand Kazuma's plan or find a way to stop him before things become even worse than they already are. But unfortunately, their visit does not help them at all, because the person they came to question is not able to share anything useful or important about what happened during the fight with Kazuma. After this disappointing visit, Ayano tells Catherine that Kurika believes she is the only person who can stop Kazuma from causing more destruction and harm to innocent people. Hearing these words makes Catherine feel very upset and angry, and she reacts with jealousy and disbelief, refusing to believe that Kurika would choose Ayano instead of her for something so important and serious. Ayano does not really understand why Catherine is acting so emotional about this situation, not realizing that Kurika's words have a much deeper meaning behind them, and that other people can see a special connection between her and Kazuma that even she does not notice or understand. Meanwhile, Yukari discovers some very important information about where Pandemonium is located and decides to go undercover to gather even more details about this mysterious and dangerous place. Yukari makes her way to a secret meeting where many power users have come together, wearing a careful disguise in hopes that nobody at the gathering will be able to recognize who she really is. Utsumi appears at the gathering and begins sharing very important information to all the power users who have assembled there about events that will happen soon. Utsumi announces to everyone that Pandemonium will come down to Central Park at exactly midnight on the following day, creating a special opportunity for those people who want to gain greater magical abilities than they currently have. He promises that any power users who manage to arrive at the specific location on time will receive incredible power that goes far beyond their current capabilities and strength. Yukari immediately begins sending all this very important information to Ayano through text messages on her phone, keeping her informed about everything she learns during the secret meeting. After Utsumi finishes giving his message to the crowd of people, he looks up and sees Yukari among all the assembled power users even though she is wearing a disguise. Yukari quickly sends Ayano one final urgent text message explaining that someone has found out her true identity and her secret mission has been discovered and ruined. She starts running away from the gathering as fast as she possibly can, but Utsumi catches her before she can escape to a safe place. Ayano and Kurika receive Yukari's desperate message and immediately understand that the situation has become extremely urgent and dangerous and requires them to take action right away. Kurika suddenly realizes that Kazuma already knows exactly where Pandemonium is located through his careful planning and preparation. On the night when he deliberately allowed Utsumi to kidnap Nanace, Kazuma must have secretly followed them back to their hidden base to discover that Pandemonium is actually located at the park. Kurika understands that Kazuma has refused to take immediate action because he wants Bernhard to complete all of his evil plans first, and then destroy everything at the very last possible minute for the greatest impact and effect. Kazuma wants to see the complete despair and overwhelming pain in Rode's eyes as he destroys everything that Rode has worked so hard to achieve over time. Kurika adds that Bernhard must have become aware that Kazuma had discovered the location of Pandemonium through his own intelligence network and information gathering system. After this happens, Utsumi decides to fight against Bernhard because he thinks that his new powers make him very strong now. This bad decision does not work out good for him at all. After that, Gunma gets ready to go find Kazuma so he can kill him and stop all the bad things he has been doing. But Ayano talks to Gunma and makes him believe that she will be the one to stop Kazuma instead. She makes a promise on her special sword that she will finish this job and get it done. Gunma does not really want to step back, but he does it anyway and leaves the area. Now it is just Ren and Ayano who have to deal with Kazuma and handle this problem. That night, Ren and Ayano got to the park to find the power users eliminating each other. They're trying to reduce the competition in anticipation of Pandemonium killing them. However, Ren decides to burn them with purification fire to suppress the Yumas in their bodies. They are at it when the clock chimes to inform them that it is midnight already. Pandemonium starts to show itself, and all the power users begin to transform into beasts. They start running towards Pandemonium. At that same time, Kazuma shows his face too. Kazuma eliminates all the beasts in his way and is about to move to Pandemonium when Ren and Ayano arrive. Ren tries to tell Kazuma that Sui will not be happy if she sees him like this. Seeking revenge will not bring back the dead. Kazuma shuts Ren up and says he is not seeking revenge as he just wants to kill Bernhard just for killing's sake. He warns Ren not to get in his way. Ayano then steps in. She is well aware that words cannot stop him, and she is ready to use force. Kazuma's power is so overwhelming, and he hasn't even used the contractor's power yet. Ayano starts to encourage herself to stand in Kazuma's way. Kazuma has taught her a lot, and she is ready to put it to use. A battle ensues between the duo, and Ayano is able to stand up to Kazuma. She starts attacking Kazuma ferociously, and Kazuma cannot even bring himself to kill Ayano. Ayano gets more serious, and the fire around her blade turns bright red. This color signals the power of the Crimson Flame. Ayano then reminds Kazuma of the real reason he acquired power in the first place. The power is to protect, and not to destroy. However, Kazuma told her once that he will keep everyone around him safe without picking and choosing who to help. Ayano's words start making Kazuma think differently, and he understands that he has done something wrong. He thinks back to the promise he made before, and his eyes change from bright red back to his normal eye color. Ayano knows that Kazuma has come back to being himself, but she still attacks him one last time with a very strong move. She does this to make him pay for losing control of himself. When the fight ends, Kazuma goes back to acting like his usual proud self. He kisses Ayano on the neck, and she is surprised by what he does. Right then, the dead bodies of the Yumas that Kazuma beat start moving toward Pandemonium. Ayano says this must be the beginning of something very big happening. Kazuma wants to destroy Pandemonium before anything starts, but Ayano tells him that Nanace and Yukari are trapped inside because they got taken away before the main fight started. After that happens, there is a flashback that shows how Sui was killed as an offering to the devil in a terrible ceremony, and Kazuma was not able to rescue her from this horrible fate. It becomes clear that Bernhard was the person who performed the deadly ceremony that ended Sui's life and took her away from Kazuma forever. Back in the present time, Kazuma, Ren, and Ayano all enter Pandemonium together as a group. Kazuma explains to Ayano that Lapis does not have any control or power over him anymore, because to him, she is nothing more than a lifeless puppet now that has no real meaning. When they arrive at the main entrance area, they discover Lapis holding both Nanace and Yukari as her captives and prisoners. Utsumi is also present at this location, trapped inside a magical crystal that keeps him frozen solid and completely unable to move his body. Lapis begins to tell them that Pandemonium was brought to Tokyo as part of a scientific experiment that focused on creating a combination of humans and demons, which they called Homo superior beings. She explains that they spread Yuma's magical power to many different people using the internet and computer networks and then grew that power like plants in the ocean. The scientists used this entire process to collect all kinds of important information about how to successfully combine humans and demons into one single being. Lapis raises her sharp sword high in the air and cuts off Utsumi's head without any hesitation or second thoughts. The exact moment she does this terrible action, a huge earthquake shakes everything in the surrounding area, and an enormous magic circle appears around the entire location where they are standing. Lapis then announces to everyone that the process to bring Belial into their world is now completely finished and successful. Belial is one of the most powerful princes of Hell, which makes the entire situation extremely dangerous and frightening for everyone involved. She explains that the souls of all the power users were used as offerings to summon him from the underworld, and Utsumi's soul was the very last one needed to complete the magical ritual. Lapis tells the group of people that her master once taught her that the more fear and sadness she causes in other people, the closer she gets to gaining a real heart of her own. She says she represents the final emotion that people feel right before they die and leave this world, but deep down inside, she wants to experience real emotions for herself. Right after she finishes saying these words, a very fierce battle begins between them. Lapis starts fighting by using the magical crystals around her, turning them into dangerous weapons to attack her enemies and also using them as strong shields to block the group's attacks against her. Ren successfully saves both Nanace and Yukari using his special magical powers, and Kazuma tells Ren to keep careful watch over the two people he just rescued from danger. While the fighting continues to go on around them, Belial slowly begins to rise up from the underworld and emerge into reality. The group becomes very afraid that Belial will completely destroy the entire Earth and everything on it, but Lapis tells them that the sacrifices they made are not strong enough to make him stay in their world for a very long time. She explains that Belial will only appear on the surface of the Earth for just a few seconds, but those brief seconds will be more than enough time for him to destroy all of Tokyo completely and turn it into ruins. After sharing this very important information with them, Lapis leaves the area and disappears from their sight. However, Kazuma then uses his powers to transport everyone else safely outside the building. Kazuma, Ren, and Ayano stand together and watch as the magic circle begins to open while waiting for Belial's scary arrival. Kazuma tells his two companions that they must use all of their strength and abilities if they want to prevent Tokyo from being completely destroyed. Afterward, Ayano calls forth the Crimson Flame, which is her most powerful ability. Ren charges up his strongest power to its maximum level. Kazuma activates something called the Wind Contract, which gives him great power. Just as Belial's huge hand starts to come out from the magic circle, the three friends attack it together. Their main goal is to keep the demon away for the short time that it will last on Earth. Using everything they have inside them, they manage to stop Belial from getting out completely, but this effort takes away every bit of their energy. When all the fighting ends and the dust clears away, a large crater forms at the place where the battle happened. Kazuma opens his eyes and sees both Bernhard and Lapis standing directly in front of him. He becomes scared that Bernhard will kill him because he no longer has any strength left to fight back. However, Bernhard tells him that he does not want to fight him anymore. Kazuma looks up and sees his father standing far away in the distance, just waiting for Bernhard to make any kind of move. Bernhard admits that he can sense that Kazuma's father's power is just as strong as his own power, and he does not want to start a fight that he cannot win. Bernhard and Lapis prepare to leave the area, but Kazuma decides to ask Lapis an important question about what Sui's last feeling was before she died. However, Lapis tells Kazuma that Sui's final emotion was her strong desire to kill Kazuma. This answer shocks and surprises Kazuma very much. Ayano walks close to Kazuma, and he turns around to give her a hug. A few days later, Ayano and Kazuma sit together by a quiet, peaceful lake, talking with each other. Ayano brings up the idea that maybe Lapis had been lying about everything she said. But Kazuma doesn't think so. He says it all adds up, especially since he failed to protect Sui when she needed him the most. Ayano looks at him and promises that she'll always be there for him whenever he needs help. She wants to be someone Kazuma can rely on no matter what. The two of them are clearly growing closer and sharing more feelings, but they still won't admit that they're dating or that they see each other as a couple. That's it for today, my fellow men of culture. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more.